We are taught to expect love as a spectacle, a loud confession, an elaborate date, or a scripted monologue. When we scan the room for those dramatic fireworks, we often miss the quiet mechanisms of actual human attachment occurring right in front of us. Genuine romantic attraction acts as an automatic override of the nervous system. It bypasses conscious thought to dictate how a person moves, speaks, and processes information. Right now, you might be the focal point of someone's biological compass, and because they haven't bought a billboard to announce it, you have no idea. Understanding these behaviors allows us to see the devotion of people who have already quietly handed over their affection. The first symptom of this biological hijack happens internally. The brain physically reorganizes what it considers important data. This illustrates a process psychologists call emotional salience. You can see how an abstract network filters out a chaotic stream of everyday gray data, actively highlighting specific, brightly colored nodes. These represent random, offhand details about a person, like a favorite pasta dish mentioned in passing 3 weeks ago. The brain is now treating those minor preferences as essential survival information. This cognitive prioritization creates an attentional bias. The perceptual system becomes so highly tuned to the individual that it immediately detects the slightest shift in the incoming data, a different hair part, a subtle change in posture, or a laugh that falls a fraction of a second short. It also compels prolonged observation. When we look at someone we are bonded to, the visual stimulus triggers a release of oxytocin and dopamine along these optical pathways. They look at you when you aren't paying attention, simply because their brain is chemically rewarded for the visual input. They aren't trying to memorize your outfits or plotting to stare from across a room. Their neural pathways have simply rewired to treat your presence as a rewarding necessity. This internal rewiring quickly bleeds outward, forcing the body to physically realign itself toward the object of affection. We can see this in human proxemics, the study of social space. We maintain concentric boundaries ranging from public to intimate zones. Watch how the dot representing a bonded individual is driven by emotional gravity, slowly breaching the innermost intimate circle of the other person, even when the rest of the room is empty. Once inside that space, mirror neurons fire. The nervous system forces the body to adjust its geometry to match the other figure. They unconsciously adopt your posture, match your breathing rate, and mirror your gestures to build physical empathy. Curious, this biological tuning even reaches the vocal cords. Men will often drop their vocal pitch to signal protectiveness, while women frequently raise their pitch to signal openness. The voice becomes measurably softer and slower. Attraction rarely relies on spoken declarations when the physical orientation of the body is already broadcasting the connection. The final phase of this process moves past the physical to dissolve the psychological boundary between the self and the other. This diagram of a balanced scale illustrates communal orientation. Notice how the scale smoothly tips to favor the other side, displaying zero mechanical friction. This represents an instinctual behavior where a person yields their own comfort, giving up the better seat or walking on the outside of the sidewalk, without calculating what they'll get in return. The scale becomes a continuous loop because the psychological merge creates a permanent internal monitoring system. They are constantly checking on your physical and emotional baseline without needing to be prompted. Because the line between the two identities is blurred, an attack on you registers as an attack on them. They will defend your reputation in rooms you aren't standing in, correcting unfair narratives out of pure reflex. This drive to prioritize your comfort eventually extends to their own distress. If you mention another romantic interest, they view their own jealousy as a threat to your peace of mind. To protect your mood, they run through cognitive resources to maintain a calm exterior, suppressing their own heartbreaks so it doesn't become your burden. This integration reaches peak in the ability to share unanxious stillness. The presence alone satisfies the nervous system, removing the social urge to fill the air with noise. When an individual willingly yields their comfort, absorbs their own pain, and finds peace in your silence, their ego has fully integrated your existence into their own. Think about your own social circle. Who has been casually recalling your forgotten sentences, matching your body language, or consistently prioritizing your ease over their own?
Once you recognize these cognitive and somatic patterns, it becomes impossible to brush them off as coincidence. Performative romance is loud and often crafted for an audience. Real attachment occurs at the molecular level, in the daily routines we usually take for granted. The most profound connections don't announce themselves with a spotlight. They exist as a steady, quiet devotion, waiting for the moment you finally notice.